Well, you know what time it is.
Hey guys, welcome to Bad Wrench Live. This is our news portion. So this will be the July news that we will be covering in this stream. And we're going to hit on a few topics. As you guys saw the thumbnail, we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of deception going on in the news. So we're going to get into that as soon as we get into our announcements. Guys, thank you for all the support. Continue hitting the like button, hit the subscribe buttons. If you're on Facebook, make sure you guys follow. It really does help us build this channel for the future. Also, our merch store is live. The link will be down below that you can click on it. It'll take you to Fourth Wall, which is where our merch is at. Get hats, shirts, hoodies, drink cups, and stickers. And if there's anything else you guys want to see, make sure you guys comment that down below. Also, we have started our Amazon store. So we now have an Amazon store for products that we have used here on the channel. Stuff that you can see, stuff you can get, and stuff we recommend. Now, we want to make sure we bring the best products. So if there's stuff you guys want us to demo, make sure you guys leave that down in the comments also. That way we're good to go on that side of things. All right, let's go ahead and get into the news, guys. And we will be doing vehicle updates later on in the show. So we will be doing vehicle updates later on in the show. So that'll be something to look forward to. Also, we will have a Q&A session. So if you guys have questions on your project, or if you guys want to comment during some of our news stuff, we do read comments throughout the day. All of our moderators do get shouted out when they come in, so we will be doing that as well. All right, let's go ahead and hit up the first news topic. We usually go to Motor Trend to start out, and you guys are going to notice a different format. We have to do this because of all of the YouTube censor stuff. So we will no longer be showing the articles on screen. You guys will only see me. If you guys want, go and follow also on these pages that we tell you guys, and you can see which article we're looking at. You can even click into it and read more details if it's something that you really want to check out. But we are going to cover the topics, our take on it, and where things could go from there. So I will kick it back to the producer. Let's go ahead and start with Motor Trend.
All right. First one on there says Ferrari Luce versus Dodge Charger Daytona. Which EV is more disappointing? At least they're being honest about it being disappointing.
The correct answer is both, because they're EV. And the truth is that EVs are just, they're not what they claimed that they were in the beginning. And because of that bold-faced lie, nobody trusts them. And they shouldn't, because they don't deliver on the promise. They're not better for the environment. They don't save you money. And in the long run, it's more of a hassle than it is a benefit. You don't get to go as far per charge versus per tank of fuel. This limits anyone who lives outside of a major metropolitan area. I have beat this horse to death with this saying. So, yes, there is literally no benefit to either one, and both are extremely disappointing.
That stinks. Oops, wrong button. Sorry. All right, next one says the Wild Genesis GV60 Magma's price tag is hot. Does that mean it's expensive or cheaper?
I'm going to guess it's probably expensive. And we're going to see this, okay? The auto industry is going through quite a bit. And I'm going to touch more on this when we get into the main topic, guys. We're just covering a few news stories before we hit main topic. But really, we're going to see a shift in the auto industry. And it's going to be a massive one. And people need to be prepared that dealerships may not be as big as they used to be, and there might be a different way of ordering your car. That being said, I don't want to tip too much into the main story, but just know that I will lay this out a little bit later in the video, exactly why this has happened.
So we gotta wait, huh?
Yep, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. All right, next one. A new restyled C9 Chevy Corvette is closer than you think.
Okay, so I'm disappointed in Corvette for a few reasons. And it's not mainly a Corvette issue, it's a General Motors issue. My issue with them is they have slowly gutted their car line. And technically, the only car they make nowadays is the Corvette, which is a mid engine, high end exotic. And yes, it comes in well underneath exotic car prices, but it's not for the average person. The average person will not buy this car. The average person will not drive this car. They gutted their Pontiac line. Guys, you are looking at a Pontiac behind me. This car brand has been destroyed. It's no longer existent. This was one of their last attempts to make a fast car. And technically, they didn't even do it. A company they bought did it. And all they did was slap the drivetrain out of the Trans Am into it. So it is very disappointing to see a car company completely walk away from something that used to be their history.
That's sad.
Yep.
We won't even talk about the Camaro. The all-new Mercedes-Benz GLA is bigger, smarter, and I gotta click that. Electrified.
Yes, an EV with AI. I'm pretty sure I told you guys this was coming.
That's it. Told you so.
Yeah, I warned you guys this was coming. The biggest problem with the AI setup that I see is that
All right, no, I just didn't realize.
yeah, the AI is just an absolute
called it.
Yes, the AI is an absolute disaster. And what's going to happen is people are going to be hooked on this. I'm just going to let my car drive me everywhere. And what this is going to do is make roads way more dangerous. The AI systems have already proven that they will drive through a barricade because that's what their sensors are telling them is an open road when it isn't. It can't tell the difference between a picture and the real thing. It can't tell the difference between an object on the road or an object moving across the road. It doesn't have the capability. And when it does, we lose freedom. And this is the biggest reason why I said this should never be adopted. Is all you're doing is allowing yourself to be digitally imprisoned, not only in your cars, but with your devices. The more AI connects to everything we have, the more it will actually make things worse. It isn't that it provides a benefit, it's that it actually causes problems. Let me rewind that and give you guys the info. All right, so why is AI causing so many problems? Well, here's the thing. As a society, it makes us lazy. We don't learn to look for the information on our phones or on our own. We just type it into a ChatGPT setup and expect it to spit out the answers to us. Now, can that tool be useful at times? Does that mean that that tool should then be used to drive us around? Absolutely not. The cars are designed for transportation for us. It is not designed to actually do anything that is related to safety or moving people from place to place. that still needs to be controlled by the people that are actually supposed to be driving the car. This is a height of laziness situation. The higher we want to be lazy, the more problems we're going to generate for ourselves down the road. These systems will not adjust to road conditions. It will not adjust to climate conditions. We can't control the weather as much as everyone wants to believe we can. So that's why these systems are dangerous and why we should not trust them. Why we should go away from having them in our vehicles. I warned about this with the technology a long time ago. So now that I beat that dead horse, let's move on to the next topic.
They've been warning us since before you were born with Terminator, Skynet.
Yeah. I mean, you can go that far, but you can also look at it from a practical standpoint. There is a point where some AI stuff really does work because it helps you to get information quickly, but you still have to process that information to make sure it's factual. Because the worst part about it is it's not always accurate, or it doesn't remember the things that you need it to remember.
Like a diabetic pump.
Yep.
There's AI, it helps, but person still has to look at the information. Yeah.
So we
Double
still
check
have
on
to
it.
decipher what is coming out of these. And because of that, we can't trust an AI system to be able to drive us around, because we still have to correct the system. The system is never going to be perfect. There's always flaws in it. There's never a perfect system. Guys, there are many systems hooked into cars nowadays. Let's go back 20 years. There are systems in vehicles. 20 years ago, the systems that were in cars still have flaws, still have failure points, still are not accurate the way they need to be. Because of that fact, you can't trust somebody that doesn't have control of it. Now, we might say, well, people in society can't drive. That could be blamed to people not actually training and teaching people how to do it right in the first place. If you take the time to educate people, driving is a safe thing. Happens is when people want to go outside those safe parameters. That's why speed limits exist. That's why things exist. I know I'm preaching and you guys are seeing a car behind me that goes well over a posted speed limit. The truth is I've taken the time to train myself how to drive this car to where I'm safe. And if I don't feel safe, I won't push it into that danger zone.
But I'm like the exception, it seems, lately by going the speed limit. People are passing me all the time.
Yeah, and some of that is people are in such a hurry that they don't realize how much danger they're putting not only themselves in, but other people as well. You have to be able to operate that vehicle 100% safe. It should be in your mind that if I have a tire blowout on this car, could I safely stop the car? If that answer is no, or if there's a little bit of sand on the road, could you keep that car from spinning out? If you can't, you are not operating a vehicle safely.
It's a good tip.
All right, on to the next topic, or we can see if there's anybody chatting in or any mods.
No chats yet.
Okay.
Sad panda. Next one says, what's going on with Lantis in the US? Question mark. Blame tariffs mostly. For now, the Chinese-owned British automaker will only sell the gas-powered Emira here in the US. The rest is to be determined.
Okay. Guys, I warned you, always carefully read articles. Let me break this down for you. The key word is they said Chinese-based company. So why are they not going to bring their EVs here to the US? Because they're going to have to compete with Tesla and a few of the other EV car companies to where they can't be competitive with these vehicles. Tariffs are still high on China for a reason. It's because their government cannot be trusted to not do bad things. It is what it is. This is the current political situation. It doesn't have anything to do with our current White House or the president or anything like that. Look at it as a straight black and white business issue. Peel back the layers and look at what's actually there. You have to look at the cost of how much it is to build an EV. You have to look at the supply versus demand. You have to look at the market share. Is there enough open market share for them to bring it here? The answer is no, there isn't. There isn't enough open market share on EV to bring it here. EVs here are already failing. Ford has backtracked on the Ford Lightning. I'll cover more of that on the main topic. Chevy has backed off of their EV vehicles as well. They are not pushing them nearly as hard. But just know, guys, the EVs have not gone away. They've just switched up to become hybrids, meaning we're going to see more hybrid, less EV, and we're still going to have that gasoline engine because they're slowly going to trick society into thinking that these hybrids are the future. Truth is, a lot of these hybrids have very small range. They don't go very far. Prime example is the Jeep EX4. It has a range of like 21 to 25 miles on a full charge. That doesn't get you very far. And when it comes down to it, the amount that you're going to spend to charge that battery, if you decide to plug it in, because the regenerative braking system is not good enough to regenerate the brakes, this is the problems we're going to have. This is what we need to look at down the road for the future. When we see these systems, we as consumers need to be smart enough to say, no, we're not buying them. All right.
How can we, just a side question from me. How can we encourage the automakers to make what we want, which in general is like going back to simpler vehicles, base models with maybe a few things, but like mostly a base model?
So, and this, I'm going to really harp on this in the main topic, but the truth of this, of how we can reset this system, is the manufacturers, AKA the big companies, have to feel the pressure of people not buying new vehicles. And when that happens, they're going to put out polls. Why aren't you buying a new vehicle? You can't say financial, because then they'll just find a way to lower the price and make them cheaper. You can't say that it's because it has too much technology, because they'll just take some technology out, but they're going to leave the tracking systems in. Guys, the reason new vehicles aren't selling right now is there is a big scare on the tracking. There's also going to be some news articles coming up that I will talk about this entire tracking system. So I'm not going to harp on that yet.
They can't make it cheaper. The unions keep, demanding that people work on cars get paid more and more.
Yeah, there's going to be an article on the right to work stuff too. I will talk about that. But yeah, basically what's happening is the manufacturers are trying to make it to where they don't want the average person to work on a car. I will touch on that more here. There's going to be some articles coming.
That's sad. Stay out of our stuff, government and businesses. All right, next one, kind of in line. How China's Xpeng is using AI to make customers' lives and their cars better. Wow, what a puff piece. I mean, I haven't read it, but just with the title.
Yeah, and it is a puff piece, because as you learn to start dissecting these, you can tell right away when it's a propaganda piece designed to get you into a mindset before you even open that article, because they know 90% of people are just going to read the headline, and if they can make it sound catchy enough and cool enough, that's what they're going to believe is that headline. Guys, make no mistake, China surveils its people every single day, multiple times a day. Their vehicles are a digital prison, just like their phones, just like their currency, just like everything else that they make or produce. It's all a way to track their citizens and make sure that they're watching what they want them to watch. Their technology coming here is just another way for them to backdoor what we're doing and play the political game. And I'm going to leave it with that.
Fair enough. Next one is we've seen the pieces. Now here's the whole 2027 Audi. Is that how you say it? Audi Q9.
So yeah, if I'm remembering right, this is the Audi station wagon that they were going to bring to the U.S. and they have it in Europe. They just don't have it here. And honestly, I don't know how well it's going to go over unless you have a large family. In the US, very few people have large families unless they are coming from, a blended family where there's so many people that have come together in one family. Prime example, someone in our neighborhood, they have a lot of kids, but they're all from past relationships, so it is a big family. That big family needs something to transport people. And the Q9 is just going to be another way for people to haul other people around without having a van or a bus. That's basically what it is. The reason that there's so much hype is that they're hoping that there's going to be big power plants put in them. Audi is also known for producing big power stuff. We are going to get into some Bugatti stuff here in the articles, and I will touch more on the performance part at that time.
All right. Land Rover says it's ending Discovery Sport production this year.
So the reason that they're going to probably do a downscale is they've noticed a downtick in their vehicles. They went and leaned too hard into the EV side, and now they're getting punished for it. So they have to cut costs.
Fair enough. Here's an interesting one. Ford wants to build the U.S. Army's next tactical truck. They can want to do anything they want.
Yeah, you can want to be a superhero. It doesn't mean it's possible. The biggest problem with Ford trying to get a military contract, I'm not saying they can't, but the biggest problem is they are fighting a system that the military tries to reuse a lot of stuff. So if they have,
that helps their tax dollars.
They have one military vehicle that breaks down, they will take every piece that they possibly can off of that one to keep 10 others going. If they were to now switch and go with Ford, they would have to be able to supply enough to make that work. If they can't, then it isn't going to work and they have to cut back. The truth is that they already have an established system that they're using. So for Ford to try to push their way in, it's going to be difficult. Now, if they're just going to make daily driver vehicles that anyone on a base could drive, kind of like a carpool thing, they might be able to push into that market. But it's going to be where if they want to make a utilitarian vehicle that's going to be used for military purposes, I don't see them having the structure to do it.
Porsche's next 911 GT3 is almost certainly going turbo. Here's why.
Yeah, you don't even need to click on the article because I already know why it's going to go turbo. The truth is cars are getting faster. They're getting a lot more power put to them. Porsche just can't keep up. The new 911, in order for it to compete, it will have to have turbos. I can tell you right now, me building this vehicle naturally aspirated, I'm already somewhat limiting my potential with this car. But I realize that this is a street car. It is not track purpose at all. Never will be. It's not where I want to go with my vehicles. I'm not a track guy, never have been. So me putting this on a track is not an option. If I was to take anything to a track, in order to even be competitive, you either need turbos or an extremely large amount of nitrous oxide and or running methanol fuel, meaning that these are all dangerous setups to get you to the horsepower that you need to get down a quarter mile. Or you need a strong suspension setup to road course the car. Those are all the challenges facing you when you go to a track setup. On a street setup, the most you would do is do a coilover kit on this, bring the power up under naturally aspirated. Maybe if you built the motor right, you could toss nitrous at it, but you're not tossing a 400 shot at it. You're probably doing maybe 200, just enough to get the power up on the top end as you're in higher gears. Honestly, this is what they're competing with, and they're going to be competing against car brands like Bugatti, which is technically an Audi brand vehicle, but they're also going to be competing with the exotics. So your Lamborghinis, your Ferraris, all of those. This is why Porsche has to step the game up. They can't afford to not do it now because they're actually coming in late to the game compared to the other people.
Funny thing is the picture next to the article thing. It looks like Turbo's helmet from Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, they have to run a turbo setup on the new 911 because they will not compete with the exotics if they don't. They have to. And their 911 is considered their pilot for their big muscle cars.
Porsche is not going to be as well known for really fancy and fast anymore, huh?
Well, they're fighting to try to stay in the hunt. They're going to have a hard time competing against Lamborghini, Ferrari, Bugatti. Those are going to be the big, hard ones to compete against.
Fair enough. The new electric C-Class's wild interior. Is this a proper Mercedes? It's electric, so no.
Thank you, producer. You just answered that question. No, because it's an EV. Next, it isn't because it's a Mercedes. They are selling to a certain kind of people. These people oftentimes lean more towards the environment side, and they're trying to capture that market. Truth is, that market is dwindling by the day because people are realizing the scam that it is. It's becoming a status symbol thing, and most people can't afford status symbols in this day and age when 40% of what you make goes to taxes. So these are real numbers, by the way. I'm not just spitting out random percentages. 40% of your wage taxes go to your state, federal, and local levels.
County.
That means you will work 5 months out of the year just to pay taxes.
AEV's new Ford Super Duty FX 370 package brings big off-road capability for less.
So what it's trying to do is it's trying to do a more off-road capable Super Duty truck. And honestly, big trucks like this are not off-road because they weigh too much. You can't get the weight down on a Super Duty enough to make it a viable off-road truck. Your half-ton trucks, yes, your half-ton trucks, you are borderline where you need to be weight-wise to take them off-road. This is why the Raptor has been such a powerful truck. This is why the TRX is such a powerful truck off-road. because they're purpose built for that reason. If you take a normal 1500 pickup, it isn't going to be that capable off road. It doesn't have the travel and the suspension. It doesn't have the right tire setup. It doesn't have the right traction setup to be able to make it viable. When they try to do this with the Super Duty, they're going to realize there's too much weight there. And if they try to cut the powertrain back and not give people the diesel option, now you've limited the tow capability of that truck as well. So hopefully that gives you guys an insight on off-roading anything 1 ton, 3/4 ton, or anything that's diesel. It's just too heavy.
Will Mercedes' new design chief change things up?
I would be more impressed if they fixed their recall issues. And that's all I got on that.
Return of the Cross Tour. Honda might be ready for another Accord SUV.
Honda could be ready for a lot of things. The problem is whether or not they're going to do it, and then if they're going to bring it to the U.S. market. Again, U.S. market share is shrinking. I will get into that during our main topic.
Okay. Ford's $30,000 EVs are ditching Google for Apple Maps. Here's why.
So the reason that they're going to Apple is they're getting a financial kickback from Apple to do so, number one. Number two, they're trying to ultimately have their own system. And they have less control of that system if they're piggybacking off of Google. If they're going to try to take more control and ownership of the electronics in the vehicles, then they need to slowly shift away from the big tech companies. Apple is a big tech company, but Google is bigger by far. And those bigger tech companies are going to be some of the issues.
Okay, 2026 Ford Bronco Desert Rising first look. Pretty awesome in pink. Get it? Pretty in pink.
First of all, it's a Bronco, and this isn't even the Broncos that I grew up with, okay? This is a square. It's a square box SUV that's designed to compete with the Jeep. Let's not call it anything else but that. They built this vehicle literally to compete with the Jeep Wrangler. They wanted an off-road capable truck so that they could compete in that market. In some ways, they've done okay. In some ways, they've failed. And in some ways, they've done better. Jeeps are notorious for breaking down and having failure issues. Ford has limited some of those, but their recalls are still plaguing the company. Off-road wise, they're slightly worse than the Jeep. So off-road, they don't necessarily have the ground clearance suspension travel as a Jeep would. As far as a daily driver purpose, that's the only spot that they can get any kind of positive check mark because theirs is slightly more reliable than the Jeep brand Wrangler. So when you add all of these up, depending on what you're trying to do and your purpose, I honestly wouldn't necessarily lean towards either one of these vehicles, but if you're going to be street driving mainly, the Bronco would be your better choice than over the Wrangler because of the inconsistent issues with Wranglers over the time and how much you'd have to work on them to keep them going. Now, some people say the new Wranglers aren't that bad. No, but they still have their Achilles heels, and some of those Jeep bugs have never been worked out.
Gotcha. Hemi-powered 2027 Ram HD 2500 gets package that boosts payload towing capacity.
So anyone who wants a 3/4 ton, 1 ton truck, if you're going to do any towing, guys, get the diesel. Don't waste your time. Yes, it's more expensive, but the diesel gives you the torque that you need for pulling. Don't buy the gassers.
You
Gas
stupid.
engines in these heavier trucks are not strong enough to handle what you're going to put them through. Yes, they're going to hype up the Hemi because some people are just diehard gassers and they do not want the diesel options. And they don't want the high cost of maintenance that a diesel offers. But here is something to know. 2027, a lot of emission standards are rolled back past the Obama era, meaning we can now take some of these emission systems off the trucks. 9 companies that were in litigation with the federal government have now been pardoned by the administration so that they are not being penalized for standards that are being rolled back. Meaning, we can now tune our vehicles again. We can now work on our vehicles again. This is going to get into the right to work topic that I mentioned before. So let's go ahead and roll into this. Why do the manufacturers not want us to work on our own cars? That answer is very, very, very clear. Because the minute we can work on our own cars, they lose money. The money that is being lost is money from the dealerships. So the dealerships are struggling. Why does it matter if the dealerships are struggling? That part is very simple because that gets into our main topic. I'm going to hold on that main topic for just a little bit, and I want to get further down this rabbit hole of why they're stopping the right to work. So the right to work is shops and personal people are allowed to work on their own vehicles. If you can't work on your own vehicle, you make a situation where oftentimes you have to take it in. And we see that on even stuff that you guys see behind me. So if I had massive electrical issues and I was having problems with this, I'll cover in depth that story a little bit later in the video when we talk about the vehicles and the situation. But if I was dealing with massive electrical issues, I would need sophisticated equipment to tell me what's wrong with it. This gets into the Right to Work Act, meaning that small shops and personal people can't work on their own vehicles. This also gets into a right of ownership issue. The right of ownership is that you get to work on your own car. They can't tell you what to do with something that has your name on the title. Now, there's a gray area. Technically, if the bank is on the title as well, there is that gray area that technically they are partial owner in the vehicle. But if you've paid off the vehicle and it's 100% in your name, you should have a right to work on it. But the Ford CEO clearly has stated that he doesn't want you working on your own car. Quotations, it's not safe. Actually, it is safe for you to work on your own car because the more you understand how this car works, how the components work together, and how they function, the more you learn how to drive the vehicle, the more you understand what the vehicle is capable of. This used to be something we taught, something I'm trying to bring back, but it all depends on the citizens and the people watching these videos to see if you guys are picking up on the information that I'm putting out. The more you understand how these systems fit together, how the pieces fit together, how they work together, where they fail at, where they don't fail at, how hard you can push the vehicle, how little you can do to the vehicle before you have problems. The more you learn this, the more you learn how to work on stuff. This is a real world skill. Real world mechanics used to be way more valued than any of the others. And the reason why is they've already paid the price. They've already had the bumps and bruises to figure out how these things work. So they have it locked upstairs and they know how to recall it when they need to fix somebody else's vehicle or fix something on theirs that broke that was not intended to break. Plus, the more we're not giving the oversight to these repairs, the more problems that can arise from the manufacturer level because they're able to push the problems much farther down the road, meaning that they can put in a bad water pump and we will still eat the bill, make no mistake. But what happens is when we learn how this works, we can learn to find solutions to fix the problem. Unfortunately, they don't want us to find that solution. Why? Because that's going to take money away from the dealerships. I will get into that on the dealership, which is our main topic. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it back to our producer. I know that was a huge rant, guys, but I needed to get into the work to right or right to work act, which basically means you have the right to work on your own car. Shops have the right to work on vehicles without being a dealership. The major manufacturers are going to push us into a corner. And that's where we're at today. This issue is going to get much worse before it gets better. Producer lost the mic, so we're
Hello? Okay, got it.
all right.
The updated 2027 Toyota Crown gets a less efficient powertrain. Wait, what? Literally, it says, wait, what?
Yeah, of course it's going to get a less efficient powertrain because some companies are still diehard on they want to convert to this EV system, so they're going to make the gas portions so weak and so soft and have so many more failures that people walk away from the gas engines. Guys, we're going to see this. I'm calling this right now, guys.
Ooh. Oh, I thought you were going to go in more detail. Missed that cue, Ariel. Regal return, a rear-wheel drive Buick sedan could be exactly what it needs. I don't know if I remember that one.
Okay,
Buick
guys.
Regal.
Yeah, I remember the Buick Regal. And I also remember its other cousin, the Grand National, which is part of that Buick Regal body style-ish. So here's the issue with the Buicks. Guys, don't trust anything from Buick until we actually see a production vehicle put into play. And the reason I say this is it's coming out of the GM camp. GM has also said they're going to bring back the Camaro, which is why I didn't talk about it in the sports car section, because they want to bring it back as a four-door sedan. It is not a four-door sedan. It has never been a four-door sedan.
Yeah.
And it's not a Camaro. It's an Impala. It's Caprice. Call it whatever you want, but don't call it a Camaro because it ain't a Camaro. I don't care if they slap a 1,000 horsepower engine in it and strap a manual transmission behind it. If it's a four-door car, it's not a Camaro.
Tell us how you really feel.
I just did.
2026 Aston Martin Vanquish 25 first look, a silver anniversary of V12 power. Isn't that like James Bond or something?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and it's, I don't know. They're gonna try to hype up a national monument year. The reason I call them a national monument year is anytime that they hype a year of how long they've been around, they try to make a grand spectacle of it. We see this with many cars. Camaro had served 30 years, so they did a 30th anniversary edition. They've been around longer than 30 years, but you see these anniversary or what I call grand spectacle models, but most of the time these are nothing but glorified extra badging that they get to charge X amount of dollars more for the car. It doesn't actually give you anything performance wise at all. And oftentimes you don't want a car like that if you're going to build crazy power with it, because the badging itself carries a special price tag, meaning that the minute you modify or chop up the car or do anything that would normally increase the value of the car, you're only decreasing it on an anniversary edition. So that's why the 04 GTO is perfect to modify, because it isn't an anniversary car. It's the first year of the car, so it's going to be first year model headaches, first model year situations. Oftentimes things won't be built as strong as they should have been, so you will have to do some updating, but there's nothing special about it. You can only buy it as a base model GTO. There is no special packages, meaning I can do whatever I want, and as long as I don't destroy the framing of the car, I can actually increase the value by putting an expensive motor in it, by putting a built transmission in it, doing a special built drivetrain that handles all of that. You can actually increase the value of the car by doing those items. Now, you can spend more than what the car is worth. That's always an option. But sometimes it might not be the best option for you. You sometimes have to look at what the value of the car is, what you're going to stick into it, and decide, am I really worth sticking $15,000 to $20,000 into this car that I bought for $9,000 versus selling the car right now as it would be worth, getting $14,000 to $16,000 for the car, meaning I made profit on the car, and then take that money I was going to spend to build the car and just buy one that's already done. So those are options that you do have to consider. Now, the only reason I would probably do that on this car, guys, is I'm going to bring you guys the content. I'm going to show you guys step by step how I built the car and things I'm going to do with the car. But for the average person, and if I was doing this without the channel involved and it was just my own personal, I would probably turn around and flip this car, get my 16 out of it, couple it with maybe another 10. I could get a ZL1 Camaro, probably 2014 with a manual, and I would have a car that is just as capable as what this one will be when it's completed. And I was able to do it without having to tear a car completely apart. So,
oh, what's the fun in that?
you don't learn as much by not taking the car apart. And this, again, right to work thing, you learn more when you physically turn the wrenches. You can learn where those failure points are. You can find fixes to where the manufacturer failed. They don't want us to find those.
It's hard to teach the future generation when you can't work on your own cars.
Yep. Any chats?
No chats.
Oh.
Tips on how to make your car audio come alive.
Oh, simple. Put new speakers in it. Put a good quality radio in it. Add a subwoofer, and you're already there.
Doesn't that take away from your trunk space?
It can, depending on the size of the subwoofer. If you're smart and you've designed the system properly, you can get it to where it does not destroy your trunk space. Back in the day, people wanted the big subwoofers, meaning 15-inch subwoofers. Those require massive boxes to make them work. That would chew up all of your trunk space on a large car. A car like this, you couldn't put a 15 in it and actually make it sound good because you couldn't put a big enough box in it. This car does have a subwoofer in it, and I believe it is a factory subwoofer setup, so I will have to look at how I can restore the sound system on this car at some point. But when it comes down to it, just replacing the stock, cheap, ugly speakers will greatly increase your sound quality of your stereo system. And the stock speakers are junk trash. That is one area where they saved money by not putting good speakers. And every vehicle is like that unless you've changed it.
Yikes. Could Mercedes face a U.S. ban? New bill targets automakers with Chinese ties.
This is another reason why China is not trying to push to bring other stuff to the US, because there is a very real situation that they're going to be not allowed to sell in the US. And some of that all depends on some of their foreign relations stuff. And this gets to be a global conflict issue. This involves Iran. Involves Russia. It involves all of these elements. So when you're dealing on a world stage like we are, the car manufacturers are having to compete to stay in certain markets. Certain markets don't allow you to sell certain vehicles. And when it comes down to it, it's because they have their own manufacturers, their own cars in their own country, and they don't want foreign competitors coming in and destroying that ecosystem, because they realize that people need jobs, people have to work. You have to have a way of a society supporting itself. It won't be able to do that if it destroys the local job economy. So they ban certain vehicles from being sold. They ban certain things from being made within their country. This is why that could become a very real possibility.
That's all, folks. Honda pausing manuals for Civic Si and Integra A-Spec. No more manual.
They're catering to people, and they're catering to a system that is designed to digitally trap you. If you do not know how to drive a manual, a lot of people nowadays do not. If you don't know how to drive a manual, you severely limit your potential of being able to move when it comes to a vehicle. This car, being manual, very few people can drive it. So very few people will even go near a car like this, especially auto thefts have gone down on manual cars because they can't drive the car. As sad as that is, your highest amount of cars stolen, excluding the Camaro, it was number one not too long ago, and it was the ZR1, which is a top line badge. Those cars got stolen for obvious reasons because they are super fast, super light, and everything on them is super expensive. Meaning that the engine alone, you can make $20,000 by pulling out an engine and reselling it. It's a 600 horsepower engine that they can just plop it out and sell it if you know where to scrape off the identification marks. A lot of manufacturers have gotten smart and are starting to stamp every part with the VIN code so that it can't be done, and it really limits auto theft. But most of your cars that are stolen are automatic cars. Kick it back to producer.
Pardon me. An all-new Honda Ridgeline is officially coming, but there's a catch for today's buyers.
I don't even want to click into that one.
Don't want to touch it, huh?
No, it's... There's many different reasons, but some of it is the main topic. And yeah, okay, yeah, we'll skip that because that we'll touch on in the main topic. Are we almost done with Motor Trend?
Yep. Next, we're going to the drive.
All right. So in the drive, guys, you can flip over, just type in the drive into your search engine, and it'll pull up this website that is associated with news. Again, these guys are more like Motor Trend. We see a lot of duplicates. So if we see one that is the same that we've already read, we skip over it. We do not waste too much time on it. And we will be doing a new one today. So there will be a new news site that we are going to talk about. So let's go ahead and roll into the drive.
There it is. Having issues. All right. The drive. First one. Someone turned a BMW M4 Competition X Drive into a pickup. I thought the Jeep with a pickup, with a trunk thing was bad.
So, I mean, you get this from time to time. People will want something that the manufacturer doesn't make, so they will start cutting and welding and modifying and doing their own thing. Again, this is Right to Work Act. If you own it, you should be able to do what you want with it. The manufacturer should never be able to tell you you can't do something. The minute they tell you you can't and they start denying you access to parts, Bugatti, I'm looking right at you. You guys are notorious for this. If people don't bring their vehicle back to the dealership just to get a service done, you deny them parts and access and maintenance information to be able to do it themselves. Matt Armstrong was a perfect example of how a simple person that wanted to work on a car was denied access to parts, was denied the information to put the car back together, how to safely take it apart. And when it came down to it, you either have to choose to say, okay, I'm just not going to use them and I'm going to find parts and source them other places just so you can work on your own car, or you have to give it back to the dealer. This violates the right to work. This means that they have 100% control over the car. And this is, at least in the US, not legal. There's laws banning this. But Ford is trying to get this to go through because they like the model that Audi has decided to go with, at least for their line of the Bugatti cars, aka the Chiron. Those cars are designed on a high-end level with a high-end design spec and made to be multi-million dollar cars. So they're selling to a clientele that has disposable money and they just want the car to keep coming back every 10,000 miles for that oil change, for that maintenance. And they don't care that they get to charge them ridiculous prices to do so. This is why a lot of my stuff is older, guys, because I can work on it myself. I can go down to my local auto parts store. I can get 90% of what I want for this car. I say 90 because there is some of the electronics that is special to this car that we'll be talking about when I break the car down.
Right. You can buy a new 1990 Aston Martin V8 Vantage Zagato. This thing looks like it's from the 70s with the lights.
Yeah, probably is. But guys, some of this is kit car stuff. And
okay, that makes sense. The way it looks. Okay.
Yep. And
as soon as you said kit car.
Yeah, and kit cars are you buy a shell, a chassis, the panels, and basically everything but the motor and transmission. Most of them even
90s too. Yeah.
Most of them even come with the suspensions in them already. So you just need a power plant and drivetrain to put into the car. And there are plenty of kit car options out there, guys. I would have considered going kit car, but when I found this car for $9,000, this was the better buy. Because what I would have spent on that kit car was more than what this car was, and this was an already running car with a power plant that I was able to rebuild. So I didn't have to source the power plant. I didn't have to wire it in. I didn't have to do all those extra steps because they're already in the car. So what you're seeing is a kit car. They make kit cars for Shelby. If you want a Shelby Cobra car, you can get a kit car version of it and have a convertible Cobra car.
Didn't know that. Okay. New AEV kit has everything to turn a Ford Super Duty into a super off-roader for $20,000.
We already talked about this.
Oh, did we?
Yep, the Super Duty off-road. Yep.
I thought the kit
So
was
yeah,
different.
this article, they talked about the kit that they're going to sell to turn the Super Duty into an off-road truck, but it's not capable. It's too heavy. Oftentimes, Super Duties are too big also to take off-road. They're going to get hung up in spots that a Jeep or a Bronco or even an off-road Ranger or Colorado or Canyon would be able to go. So off-road wise, Super Duties are not the best choice.
Just reading this one. Mercedes CEO admits it, quote, forgot a little bit about the customer, end quote, when it axed buttons.
Oh, we just forgot that the customers exist.
Whoops.
Yeah, next. Just like I'm going to forget to touch on this topic any farther than that.
Chevy says that this is how crazy we are. We actually care about this. Chevy says, quote, officially licensed, end quote, AI slop shirt at TJ Maxx is a fake. Why do we care?
We care because it hurts our brand, and we can't sell our own brand shirts because the AI slop is doing something that we didn't think about. Next.
Oh my goodness, boohoo.
Yeah.
Cadillac.
Go cry with your $1 billion somewhere else. We don't want to listen to it.
Cadillac only made 3 CTS VR Coupe race cars, and this one is for sale.
Yeah, so when they have a limited run of cars, guys, just know that those cars don't come up available very often. There are certain models of the Corvette that have been put out that they don't produce a lot of. There's also
one behind you, like limited too.
Yeah, so the GTO is limited. Guys, there's only 3 years of the GTOs. 04, 05, and 06. 04 being the lowest run model for these cars. Also, the 04 is more rare because it doesn't have some of the other components that the 05s and the 06s have. The 05, 06 has a different rear bumper with different exhaust. That exhaust exits further apart on the rear bumper. This one only exits out of the driver's side, and it's a small opening that both exhaust pipes come out. The reason that makes this car more special, more rare, is it's a 1-year model thing. Anytime you have a 1-year model thing, it does raise the value of that car. If you have one that's running in solid shape, in perfect condition, which this car is not perfect, guys. I bought it for that reason. It's not perfect. This was designed to be a street runner. I wanted a car that was a literal street beast. The minute I turn that key, you hear it, you feel it, but you're probably not going to see it because it's moving too fast. That's what I'm building this car to be. Knowing that, I didn't want a perfect condition car. I found a perfect condition in a darker red for this car that I could have bought for 25 or even 20,000, which would have been a little bit less. Technically, I could sell this, put a little cash together. I would have literally the 05 or 06 completely done, minus the high horsepower engine. But if
Is it really done though? I mean, I think
for me, it's not going to be done because number one, the motor, like I was saying, the motor isn't there. On the Camaro for anywhere from 30 to 36, you can buy a ZR1 with 600 horsepower that in my mind would be done for a street purpose car. When I'm done with this car, if I don't have nitrous hooked to the car, I would not line up against the ZL1 Camaro. They will beat me hands down. Even built naturally aspirated engine for this car is not on that level. I can't compete power-wise. The only chance I would have is if my car hooked and his didn't. If he couldn't put the power to the ground, I would be able to win. If he puts the power to the ground, I'm toast. And on the higher end range, as we're going farther down, he'll have longer legs, more horsepower, more range that he can push that car and come around me. So again, this is knowing how you're designing your car, what you're designing it for. That's why there will be probably a little secret in this car once we get everything built and put together. Because in order to bridge that gap between what is currently being made, what has been made, and where my car is at, there is a chasm of power difference. Stock, this engine's only about 350 horse. After I'm done with a nitrous setup, I will be closer to 800 horsepower. That bridges those horsepower gap numbers. Now, will I be able to compete with a Corvette? Nope, not a chance. The new C8 Corvettes are going to school this car every single day of the week, and I would never line up against them. But I would be able to compete with the C7s because the C7s were just under that 800 horsepower, meaning I will still have a horsepower advantage, but you still got to put the power to the ground. And on the street, that's what matters.
A Tesla SpaceX merger could create a big mess in China.
This is all propaganda crap, guys, because this is world politics, not anything really automotive. The reason it's going to cause problems for China is they're going to use Tesla facilities to help SpaceX build the stuff that they want that helps them do space exploration. Where the cars are involved is the fact that they're just going to use the Tesla manufacturers to be able to make some of the components that they're going to use for SpaceX. I hate it when they slide this stuff in. Next.
2026 Mercedes Maybach SL680 review. All chill, no thrill.
So Maybach, guys, is a high-end car designed for people with disposable incomes. And when I mean disposable, boy, do I mean disposable. These are $1 million cars that are just thrown around like they're candy to the rich. And honestly, these things are heavy, they're slow, they're status items, and they are never meant to be driven as a daily driver. Oftentimes, these things are so inefficient and cost so much money to keep on the road that the average person would not ever entertain the thought of owning one as a daily. So not practical by any stretch of the imagination.
The new Dodge Charger is YouTube's favorite car to build or destroy right now.
The reason that people love destroying these is because of the EV platform. The reason that people build them is they're able. Yep. The reason that people build them is because they're building them off of the Hurricane 6-cylinder engine, which is twin turbo. The only reason that these cars even got somewhat of any kind of fame is they brought back the two-door Charger that they should have had from the beginning. But let's roll that back. They got rid of the Challenger, which was a two-door car. Why did they bring the Charger out as a two-door car? Well, because they knew they were taking away a market share. They didn't want to lose that market share, but they still wanted to keep a big car. Because they kept the Charger as a big car, all they did was shrink down the cab space a little bit to make it a two-door car so that they didn't seem weak in the market share. Guys, this is a Stellantis move, not anything else. Stop relying on Stellantis to do anything we want. Honestly, look at what the RAM is. The RAM is a puff piece to get us to buy their trucks again after they tried going EV. Horrible idea, horrible design. They shell companied this setup from Fiat in order to sell their EV products. Their CEO got replaced and they had to bring back the old CEO to fix that problem. Don't think for a second that the shareholders aren't going to bring back the EVs when the opportune moment is right. This company leans very much towards that EV market, and they cannot be trusted. Hope that gives you guys insight of what's going on in that company.
Flock's CEO admits police abuse is a problem, then defends his company.
So guys, this is where I'm going to preach the surveillance stuff. I've been holding out for this one because I saw the article earlier today. Remember that digital prison that I always talk about? I hope you guys do because I've talked about it in extensive detail. The digital prison is designed to trap you. They're going to use flock cameras. What does this do? They're able to see everything with these cameras. They can get license plate, face recognition, everything that they need for digital surveillance. They can use the AI systems that they're attached to data log everything. Meaning that you walk down the street, it'll pick up your face, register it, and see if you have a criminal history. If you do, they can quickly dispatch police to the location of that flock camera and digitally lock you down. Meaning that if you don't fit this certain narrative that they want, these systems can be used against the people. I am not a fan of these systems, never have been. Now, I'm also not a fan, under the situation of agreeing with the people who are also destroying these things because you're not helping the system. What you're doing is you're actually making it to where they're proving that they need these systems. The more you vandalize these systems, the more they're going to claim we need these systems. And the digital trap is just going to keep getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. The way you avoid these systems is they're going to be put in place in massive cities, large cities. The way to avoid them is to stay out of large cities. Now, that will work for a little while, but at some point, you will need to move out into a country setting where you may own some land that you can control what is put on your property. Again, this requires you to unplug from the system. What I'm saying is all dangerous topics, guys, because anyone who has the capability, the financial means to do so, should be doing this as we speak. Get out of major cities. Don't get yourself locked down. Get away from vehicles that you can't repair with basic hand tools or vehicles that are able to be shut down by telemetric units. Guys, some of my best videos are the telemetrics, telling you how to disconnect the telemetric units, because as long as those units exist within the vehicle, they can still send signals to them no matter how old they are. If the unit is in it, they can still send updates to the vehicle. There is plenty of articles that have come out of people that have had downloads come across their vehicle while they were driving. And what is it taking? Personal information. Again, these are all digital traps. When your vehicle becomes a digital trap, when your city street cameras become digital traps, you are now trapped within a system. And anything you say or do, whether it be on social media or out in person, could now be used to lock you down, lock you out of your bank accounts, lock you out of your credit cards, lock you out of your financial systems, including lock you out of your cars and your homes. Why is this important? Because this has been done somewhere else. It's been done in China. They've already done it to their people and proved that it is effective on controlling their citizens. We need to wake up and look at these systems. This is where our article really hits home of why people aren't buying newer vehicles. Because it's already gotten out that 2027 vehicles will have cameras in them. Cameras that can be used to lock the vehicle down and allow the vehicle not to be operated. If we allow this system to be put in vehicles and they are allowed to control us with these systems, we will be imprisoned, meaning that we are now trapped within that system and you can't operate within that system because you don't have control, someone else has control. Really hope I've driven this home to you guys because it is of the utmost importance that we wake up and we fight back. And the way we fight back is by not buying the new cars.
It's actually kind of sad in that because I used to work for a company that we had an item that we manufactured that it literally was like black and white and literally could only see the license plate, like that was it. And apparently it's expanded or something. So
Yep. So old license plate readers have basically gotten an upgrade, and this is where the system got the original idea. Was the original license plate readers got upgraded to these flock cameras that are basically on the backs of the AI system. So AI can be used to basically get any information that it needs on any of its citizens. This is why people are taking down flock cameras. The problem with this is you're just proving their point. The way you fight back is to get out of the system. But the only way you can get out of the system is you need some level of separation, of autonomy outside of the system. The only way you get that is to move out of the massive cities. And if even some of the smaller cities might start getting these, but you have to figure out where they are and avoid going near them.
you also could serve in your community and go to your city council meetings and make sure that they don't adopt these kind of things.
Yes, you do need to push back on your city officials and tell them you do not want these in your neighborhood, because all it's going to take is the wrong person to use it. And this is why that article on that flock camera came out, because police were abusing it, watching X's and other situations of other people that they weren't supposed to. There is going to be a massive abuse of this system because we do not have the regulations and the controls put into place that people aren't going to people it. And what do I mean by that? That people aren't just going to take advantage of a bad situation because it's there and they can do it.
Do you think one of the controls should be that whoever's in charge, their managers or whatever, should fire people like that?
And on the police side of things, they did. They actually let the officers go. The problem is that it doesn't solve the backdoor issue of how they were able to do it in the first place. Meaning that now someone else can still do it because they haven't put in a measure of control for that. Honestly, it should not be, if they want to use flock cameras for certain things, then it shouldn't have a backdoor that allows people into them. Meaning that the systems should be able to operate independently without human involvement. And if
It's AI,
it is AI, but
that's the Terminator.
here's the other factor though, is that you don't have people within that region overlooking the videos. So everything will still have to be verified by a physical person. But you don't have somebody from California verifying a video from California. This is called a layer of separation for a reason, guys.
Checks and balances.
Correct. And we have lost that in our society. We have lost it in our government. We have lost it locally, federally, and even in our own towns and communities. We have refused to wake up to the fact that the control measures are not there. But we keep pushing forward with this technology that pretty soon the technology is going to be able to operate independently without our involvement. And when it does, we aren't going to like the results, because at that point, if we say or do the wrong thing, it's going to be our heads on the chopping block. And the system won't care who it is, unless it's one of the elites that can unplug it. So,
You're just being dramatic.
yeah, you can call it dramatic, or you can call it, I know what I've seen in the past and I'm waking up to the situation.
Learn from history, people.
Yep. Do your own homework. Realize that if a system can be abused by corrupt people, then it will be. And that's the main point here. All right, next.
GM's gimmicky midgate is actually one of the best reasons to buy an EV truck.
There is no best reason to ever buy an EV truck. I am not exploring this any other fact than that. And the midgate thing is just BS. So, next.
How's this for one? Heavy duty pickups lead list of America's deadliest vehicles to other drivers. Well, I mean, maybe this is a stupid reaction, but how about you control your vehicle, like that you're driving? I don't know about you guys, but when I was taught to drive, it was not only important for me to drive well, but to look out for other drivers.
And the reason that they want to push that the big trucks are not safe for people to drive is because they are considered full-frame vehicles. The car you see behind me is a unibody car. If a full-framed truck plowed into this car, it would destroy it. The reason it's harmful for the passengers is oftentimes they don't survive the crash. When I build this car to go as fast as it will, if I crash this car, I know there is a high likeliness I'm not walking away. So you have to understand what the vehicle is capable of, where its weak points are. Again, right to build. When you understand what the vehicle can do, you understand where you can put the car. We have failed to teach the next generation what a vehicle is and how it works and how it functions, because the minute they would understand that, wouldn't treat this thing like it was your Fisher-Price bumper car that you used to push around in a grass yard. I mean, to be honest,
those have eyelids on the front. We didn't even have that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem, is people don't understand because they see it as a bumper car and they don't realize the speeds at which we are operating these days. A unibody car cannot be treated like that. It will hurt you. And when you're doing something crazy in a large truck and you don't have comprehension on how much that vehicle weighs, and you hit something like this, you might walk away, but they're not. Again, we need to re-educate people. This isn't a problem of we need technology to do it for us. No, we need to go back to the basics and train people how to do this.
Amen, brother.
All right.
Totally agree.
Next.
Okay, so I know we kind of covered this one, but I think you'll see why I'm mentioning it quick. The Ferrari Lucci has done its job. Well, Motor Trend said which one, the Lucci or the Charger
EV.
which one is EV is more disappointing, hence making me think that they both suck. But apparently the drive is trying to say the Ferrari Lucci has done its job.
It's sucking the worst, yes. The reason why they're saying this is because Ferrari tried to go into the EV market with this. And it is a failure because EVs are a failure. The sooner people realize the faults, the failures, the costs associated with repair, they will not touch an EV. I don't need to do an oil change because I have an EV. False. Your drivetrain still has oil in it. Those motors still have oil in it that needs to be changed. You haven't gained anything except a massive $45,000 repair bill when the battery fails 10 years after ownership. well, I'm not going to own it after 10 years. Here's the problem with that line of thinking, people. Let's stop and let's rewind this for just a second. What happens when we only think that it's disposable like our cell phones? The problem with that thought is we don't fix them. We don't repair them. We don't maintain them. Instead, we throw them away. What happens when we throw away lithium batteries? Does anybody have a clue about that? Okay, so we toss a lithium battery away. What can happen? This could start on fire. This phone with its lithium battery could start a massive fire. When you throw away a car with a lithium battery, again, it can start a fire. A car battery has enough voltage to start a fire. This is why when you recycle vehicles, you're supposed to pull batteries and drain fluids to eliminate fires. The problem is when we treat everything like it's disposable, every single car on the road is now a liability. Why do you think they want 15-minute cities, guys? Roll it back. Why do they want this? They want it bad. They want the 15-minute cities to limit the amount of people that will need a car, meaning we can use public transportation to move our crowd, not community, crowd. Crowds follow dictators. Community is working together so that they can move their crowd from place to place. All right, we got a question.
We have a chat from One Easy Money 155.
Nice.
I'm trying to get a 39 Plymouth business coupe from someone.
Okay. So there was a question.
No, that's what he messaged.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're dealing with a very old and what it was considered a very high-end car for that era back in the day. Business coupes were considered like the high-end luxury cars of the day. They would be what would transport very rich people in. So yeah, that is a cool thing. Hopefully you can get it.
All right.
Do you need to have it fully rebuilt or is it already done? That's what I want to know.
Also, not to, hearing all this kind of doom and gloom, it's like we can stop it if, we
Yep.
become community
and the main
we go work together with our fellow citizens and actually be community. And I know we're told how much we can't do anything, but we can peacefully assemble. We can use our rights. And remember, the people in government, at least in America, they work for you. You are the kings. You are the rulers. You can vote somebody out. You can put somebody else in. You can decide to run because you're going to be a regular person. All these kind of things. He says at One Easy Money 155, it's done. It has a 350 Ci. It runs and drives.
Nice. Nice. That is awesome that you have it up and going and it's running already. And yes, honestly, guys, our topic that we'll be touching on, why we can fight back against this is we just don't buy these vehicles. When we know that they're a digital prison, stay away from them. And again, I don't want to harp on this because I'm going to be talking about it real soon.
All right, next one. Americans don't lease as much as they used to. Blame car makers. And then when I clicked on it, it says the pandemic taught automakers and dealers what they can get away with. And that playbook has made the car leasing market a lot less attractive.
Yep. And this is going to start tiptoeing on our main topic, guys. The main topic is that both Ford and GM have analyzed the markets and realized that they can't claim the sales numbers that they used to. The reason that they can't is because of all of the things that happened during that scamdemic. And I'm calling it a scam because it really was in many different ways. Auto manufacturers were hit really hard, like crazy hard. The numbers were not put out for the amount of vehicles that were needed. So that became a problem. Also, they learned that having live inventory on the lot was not beneficial. So the only way that the manufacturers could support dealers now is they need to force people to bring the cars back to the dealership. The problem with that is Americans love to work on their stuff. They want something that they can take pride in. All the trash they're putting out nowadays doesn't give you that ability. And the new surveillance systems that are coming out are a digital prison. Nobody wants them, so nobody's going to buy them. You have to force their hand. Say, if you're putting cameras in cars, I'm not buying that car. You have to let them sit on the lot because they will build them. They will still give them to dealers to sell cars. But when the dealers can't sell them, what happens? Ford learned this lesson the hard way. When they tried to build a bunch of Ford Lightnings and they didn't sell, they wound up going back to the manufacturer because they sat there for up to 3 years. Those put the dealership on alert and put the manufacturer on alert that we did not want these.
Yep, you can use your dollars to vote as well.
Vote with your money. Where you put your money matters. And the worst part about it is they can't stop you from putting your money where your viewpoints are. This is how you control that narrative. Is if you don't like what a manufacturer is doing, then you put the money somewhere else to a different manufacturer, or you buy older vehicles. This is why the price on old vehicles has skyrocketed. Why do you think this car is worth 16 with the mileage on it, in the shape that it's in? I can get 16 grand for this car as it sits.
Goes back to school, people. Law of supply and demand. It doesn't matter what textbook they give you, economics is still the same.
Yep. Economics.
Because I went to 2 schools and it was exactly the same.
Economics. Law of supply and demand. And right now, they can push all the supply of new cars that they want. But if the demand for them is zero, then we control the narrative. And that's what needs to happen to correct the system. We need to push back and say, I don't want that new car. I want a car that's 4 years old with no cameras in it versus buying something that's like this. And here's the most important part, guys. We can't afford to treat the old stuff like trash, because when it's gone, then we won't have any options. Then we have to buy kit cars or things we assemble ourselves, but we're still going to need motors. We're still going to need drivetrains. We're still going to need those hard components. We don't want to put ourselves in that position. So restoring them, keeping them maintained, and keeping them on the road. You can force a manufacturer's hand. If everyone today said, I'm not going to buy a new car,
yes,
I'm going to maintain mine and keep it for 20 years. Do you guys understand how many dealerships would collapse? How many manufacturers would fall if every owner right now, today, stopped buying new cars, fixed what they had, and told the dealerships to go away for 20 years?
but then you don't care about the workers.
It isn't the workers' fault. It's the manufacturers for listening to the federal government that's pushing the mandates.
Okay, do you think this administration is pushing mandates?
There is still some push.
Some, okay.
There is some. Guys, remember, Pelletier is still involved in stuff, and the fact that I even just said that word is probably going to give me problems here on YouTube. But that word alone means that even this current government is still influenced by AI. Remember, yes, Trump has done a lot for this country. But remember where he got his money for this last campaign. It came from big tech. meaning he's not going to talk badly about big tech. But big tech is where all of our digital traps are coming from. Every single digital trap that will trap you in the next 20 years is from these big tech companies that are operating right now. They are influencing the laws. They are influencing the system to operate in a way that gives them the power. If not today, it will be tomorrow.
And that's why we have to hold accountable, because there's more of us than there is individual rich people or people with power that also I was gonna bring up, like, I mean, I was one person who I wanted newer vehicle because I didn't want person who, like my husband, to have to feel the need to fix it all the time and going through stuff. So tried getting a new vehicle, and then yay, we have a warranty and somebody will take care of it, and they were missing stuff that was going wrong, and so having a warranty was just pointless. So it's like, okay, then I'd rather have something older that I know exactly, that we know how to fix it or whatever, do ourselves. And like, you had to practically argue with these people. Like,
warranties mean nothing, guys. I really, really hope.
maybe they used to.
They used to back in the day when the dealerships operated in a way that they actually cared about the customer. Now it's about how much money they can make. It really has come down to they only see dollar signs the minute somebody walks into that dealership. I hate buying a new car. I would rather buy one off of a person than buy it from a dealership. Big Red came from a dealership. I went into a no-hassle dealership that doesn't negotiate price, and I still negotiated the price.
Well, you had experience with them too, like a history.
Yeah, not only that, but I also have bought and sold enough cars that I understood that the price on the window wasn't necessarily the price on the window.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that there was a markup, and I wasn't willing to go over a certain dollar amount. I was willing to walk away if they weren't willing to give me somewhat of a price break.
Yeah.
Now, I still paid over 16 for the truck, but it would have costed me nearly 19 had I just walked in, did what they said. Now, when it comes down to it, guys, you really do need to negotiate any price. And if a dealership isn't willing, walk.
But don't be stupid. Like,
be reasonable.
Be reasonable and realize like what the tax rate in your area is, because that's not their fault. That's the government.
Correct.
And that's being a dick. I'm sorry, but it is.
Yeah. Understand the tax code for your area and how much, sales tax is and what that bite is going to be. But if you're going to negotiate a price and you need to be at a certain dollar amount, then tell them, hey, this is what I can give you. This is what I can't.
Yeah.
And remember, if you get your own loans versus using whoever they got there, you have more negotiating power when you walk in, because you can say, oh, I've already been approved. I already have the money. It's already in my bank account. I'll cut you a cashier's check today, or I'll give it to you in cash, and this is a done deal. Remember, cash is king, and when you pay with cash, you can walk away with less money on the table, meaning that you can negotiate harder with cash than you will with anything else. Again, this is part of the reason that they don't want us to have cash, is we can influence the system. We can push back on what the prices are.
It also means everything we shop at, every bank that we put in, we have to look into these people. We have to see what their values are, what they do, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I know it's a lot, but you'll be happier in the long run.
Yeah, you will. And when you got vehicles that you can maintain and keep on the road, you will have a level of security that you have never felt if you've only ever bought new or ever dealt with new problems. Warranties don't mean what they used to, guys. Don't hinge everything on warranties. If you're buying an EV or a hybrid and you're banking on that warranty, stop. These cars are designed for a purpose to last until that warranty is up. When that warranty is up, you will eat the cost.
And their tests are like, well, we don't fix until this point. Well, that point might be past what an experienced mechanic is like, I don't feel comfortable with that. This engine could blow up, but it's their standard.
Yep. And that's the problem, is even though there could be a minor problem that will cause that thing to have massive issues in the future, they are unwilling to fix it. The warranty will not cover.
All those pesky little details.
Yep. All right, next.
All right, $64,360 Toyota GRMN Corolla is the most expensive hot hatch you can buy. It's oddly specific.
So this car got introduced, I want to say about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago. And it was their answer to other cars in that market. And the reason that the hatchbacks made such a popular push was because of movies like Fast and the Furious and things like that, that glamorized a 4-cylinder car that was a hatchback. And in the process of glamorizing it, these cars are still slow POSs. You can slap all the turbos that you want onto these 4-cylinder cars. You put it against any real car, they have zero chance. Some people will say, well, what about the Evo? The Evo is a outlier when it comes to what the car is capable of. But when you look at what happens when you push that car continuously, like you would one of these, that car will break. And it will be extremely expensive every time it breaks.
Next, we have an article that this man wrote saying, Flock's CEO faced me after its cameras led to my wrongful stop. So he gets kind of a one-on-one, like, hey, talk to me about your thing wrongfully did something to me. And so that should be an interesting article where he has to face the person he wronged.
Yeah, this does get into what we've already talked about with the flock cameras and them actually snapping that digital cage shut on you. The biggest takeaway with any of these articles when it comes to this stuff, guys, is at some point there has to be a pushback against the system. If you don't want to see it, there has to be a pushback.
Yeah, just to go in here, because the next one is Flock's CEO claims its cameras aren't a constitutional violation, quote, cut and dry.
Yeah.
So, no. I mean, even after he admits with police abuse and that, he's still...
Yeah, it is a constitutional abuse because it invades your privacy. Now, here's the thing. The way the laws have been written, if you are on any social media site, you have now forfeited your privacy rights because you've given up your rights based on the fact that you are already socially exposed. Meaning that drive cameras can be used against you, flock cameras can be used against you. So anytime social media stuff leaves you exposed like it is, you don't have the same level of right as somebody else. If you were never on a social media site, if you avoided ever being on camera, you have a level of privacy that the rest of the population does not have. The problem is now they're making that digital trap so much harder to fight because they're surveilling everything.
It's like NCIS LA. I like the show because it's the good guys, but you're also like, this is quite dangerous. And the surveillance.
And here's the terrifying thing, guys. The reason that all of this exists and we've gotten to this point is because of the Patriot Act.
Yes, it's true.
It's here because the Patriot Act got passed. They were allowed to use that system on citizens.
We were scared,
now,
so we were relieved, and we didn't hold our representatives accountable.
Yep.
And I'm one of them. It was one of my first times voting, and I fell for the lie that it was, right or left, and didn't like one of the options and stuff. And even the next election, it was like, well, we needed to do it. And then down the road learned, and you can't go back. So yeah, warning you, do your homework ahead of time, because you will regret what you did younger and that you had a part in it, even a little bit.
Yep. And that's where we're at, guys, in society. Is there is so much surveillance, there's so much digital exposure because of things that were done in the past. I only say that during this because it is massively going to impact the auto community when they start putting front-facing cameras, rear-facing cameras. When the vehicle can detect if there's alcohol on your breath. Guys, these systems are real. The patents are out there. You can look them up.
I mean, they already do it for people who have been drunk driving too much or something.
Well, that system is a whole nother deal, but they've learned through that system
Right.
how they can actually improve it. So now you could have one beer try to get in your vehicle. You're not drunk, you're not impaired, you're under the legal limit, but it's still going to shut you down because it can detect alcohol off of your breath. And that's where we're getting, guys.
I know we talked about the Audi's new Q9, but this is kind of interesting that Audi's new Q9 will project your turn signals onto the road.
So it's a technology thing, guys. They're basically trying to make it as safe as they possibly can. Audi has been cutting edge safety for a very long time. They've done a lot in that aspect. But that's where this is at, is they are just trying to make things as safe as possible, make sure that everyone can see turn signals. Here's what I'm going to tell you, though. That technology is going to come at a very high cost. When it starts to fail, I'm willing to bet your turn signals aren't going to work.
I was wondering, because you know what it's like now, and it's like, means your turn signal needs to get changed. What is this one gonna do? Is it gonna be like the evap code?
Yep.
Oh Lord.
Okay.
All right. Sadly, we have another Flock one. He says Flock CEO wants its cameras in every one of America's 17,000 cities. So it's all about his company. It's all about money. There is no remorse here.
Yep. And he will do everything that he possibly can to push this surveillance system. This guy is dangerous for America, plain and simple. He is a very clear and present danger. The reason why is if it's in every single city, then it is a digital prison, no matter where it is. Every single city is going to become a digital trap. This is why at some point owning land outside of a major city where you control what's on the land is going to be your only safe haven from total 24-hour surveillance systems.
Yeah, except supplies like food and that are in the cities.
Yep. So you still are going to have to venture in, but you might be able to control your time and your positions of where you are in smaller cities, because they're not going to put 100 cameras in a town of 600 people. It doesn't make sense. They would rather put 1,000 cameras in a major city that they can get more attention from.
I don't know, our town, if they could get people to pony up their money, I think they would.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. Next.
Okay. Spied. Ferrari isn't done with V12 coupes yet.
That's because Ferrari realizes the failure of their EV, and now they're going to still invest in the gas. If they get away from putting their V12 engines in anything, they are on the verge of going under. And you can mark my words on that.
Mark it. Okay, so now we're going to a new news thing called Motor Authority.
All right, guys. So Motor Authority, let me kind of give you guys a rundown here. When it comes down to it, Motor Trend and the Drive are very similar in how they do their articles. They are more left-leaning. They are more EV leaning. Motor Authority has shown me so far that they kind of go in between the both. So they're not just leaning towards that EV market. They don't push that agenda as hard.
Maybe we should make that more of a priority.
And it might be. We might be dropping the Drive. So if you guys don't want to see the Drive anymore, because a lot of the articles that we're getting from the Drive mirror that of Motor Trend. Motor Trend is the first one to release it. Drive kind of does their own spin on it. So if you guys don't want to see the Drive anymore, please let us know down in the comments. We'll go ahead and cut that out of this section, and we'll just bring Motor Authority in instead.
Yeah, just vote for like your favorite.
Yep.
All right, first one, review 2025 Ram Power Wagon and Rebel HD defend their mountain.
So this is bringing back the Ram portions. They want to bring back Ram as kind of a staple. Stellantis realizes that the US is a truck market, meaning that anything they do, even a hybrid or EV, they're going to have to compete in the truck market. I really hope you guys understand this, that the car market in the US is dead. It has been effectively killed off by GM and Ford.
It sucks too, because I've been looking at SUVs and I don't see, maybe I'm in the minority here, but I don't see the point of having an SUV that's so close to the ground unless I had a lot of kids instead of a minivan. That I get. But you look, and because there's a plastic thing, and because found out that they think that more people would get hurt under the vehicle, so they have the protection. But it's like, if I want an SUV, it's because of the snow and stuff. Yeah. I don't want, so it's like there's so many things that's like, well, then I might as well get a car, except they took away cars. So, except for like Camaros and, Ferraris and stuff. So it's like...
Yeah, guys, the car market is effectively dead, and Stellantis realizes that their EV cars are not going to sell here in the US. They're competing with Tesla that does cars when it comes to EV, and they're competing against other car brands that are just doing SUV style crossovers instead of cars. This is where the US is at. And unfortunately, we have seen the loss of sports cars, muscle cars, things that used to drive the car community. The passion has been stripped out of the car community, and I hate it. Really do hate it. But it's going to take people realizing that they've lost something for them to start fighting for it. And the only way you're going to fight for it is if you have skin in the game. Meaning you got to have one of these cars. You got to be working on one of these cars. You have to start learning and building your skills where you say, no, I want these parts. I want these cars. And you don't buy the crap they put out. That's your only recourse now in this current system.
Right. Another review, 2025 Cadillac Escalade IQ gets smart with batteries. Cadillac's flagship SUV taps a brighter source for energy.
Not touching this EV pile of crap with a 10-foot pole. Yep, I want nothing to do with the EV. Next.
All right. 2027 Audi SQ9 spied for the first time. So it must be a sports version of the Q9?
Yes. This will be the sportier version. This is going to offer the bigger engine, probably a stronger drivetrain. But yes. This is going to be more of their sport line model.
Deep dive, Bugatti Tourbillon aerodynamics. To top the Bugattis of the past, the Tourbillon has to be smooth. Here's how the aero engineers got it there. Oh, that's interesting.
So this breaks down Bugatti's some of their issues. And remember when I was talking about Matt Armstrong fixing 2 Bugattis, not just 1, 2. One of them was owned by Alex G, who is native to the US here. And he crashed his car down in Florida. When he crashed his car, he bought it back before Bugatti got their hands on it. And he tried to reach out to them. Both him and Matt Armstrong reached out and said, hey, work with us, sell us the parts, we'll fix this and show that this is viable. Bugatti said no, and they pushed back hard, saying we won't sell you anything and you will not be able to put this back on the road because we won't sell you parts. It must come back here, we must fix it, and we get to determine whether or not this vehicle will ever get put back on the road. And after initial views, they said it would never get put back on the road because the monocog was destroyed, AKA a little piece of the cage was broke. Because of that cage being broke in just a little piece, they said, this is no longer safe. This car needs to be totaled. Both of those guys decided they would come together and rebuild this car. During that process, Matt Armstrong also bought another Bugatti of his own that had been sitting for so long. Because of some of the past situation and because of Bugatti's stance on anyone working on their vehicles.
That phone because I fucking called it.
Oh, it's a number. Got it.
So even though he bought one of his own and was trying to fix it, basically, my producer keeps hitting the keyboard.
I got a number. Go ahead. It's fine.
So even though they went through and tried to get this thing fixed, ultimately they needed parts from Bugatti. They finally relented and sold him a part at an extremely high price tag. And it did not fix the car. The fix for the car was a simple hose that was located in the fuel tank that had deteriorated over 20 years later. And after he took the fuel pumps out, he found the bad hose, replaced it, and the car ran like it was supposed to. The problem with these dealerships is they are getting a little out of control. And this car, again, is going to cover a high price tag, demand high things, and it really, in the end, it's going to be a bad thing. But they need to upgrade and they need to do something to cover the embarrassment and to still be able to sell their high price tag cars to the people who can afford them. And that's all this car is. It's a status item. Next.
Okay, so we are at the final 2 minutes. Just a reminder to get your questions in. And please join us next time for our live session on Saturday, August 29th at 3 p.m. Central.
Awesome. Yep. Guys, we'll go into Q&A. We haven't had a whole lot of chats today, so we didn't break into QA sooner. Otherwise, if we do get quite a bit of questions in, we will break into the Q&A section and end the news. And we will always help you guys with your questions.
Our top chatter today, because we always notify and announce our top 3 chatters. We only have one today. Our top chatter is at one Easy Money 155.
Awesome. Good to have you in here today. So yes, final 2 minutes here, guys. We're just covering news until we get questions. Go ahead and get your questions in, whether it's on a car that you're working on, a project that you're building. I'll help kind of walk you through some of the steps that you might be having troubles with. I am going to do a video breakdown of where we're at with these vehicles, guys, currently. Right behind me, you guys see LS Goat. LS Goat is our 04 Pontiac GTO. What's going on with it? Well, it's summertime, and I'm driving it. I'm working on it. I'm kind of going through a few things. We found a battery draw issue with this car. We had to fight this battery draw issue massively in order to get this thing to run right. In the process, I wound up taking the steering column apart, pulling the tumbler out of there so that we could put this vehicle into a neutral state. I needed to test if we had relay issues, if we had computer issues, why were we having a battery draw? After removing the tumbler, setting it to a neutral position, and letting it sit for a few days, I did not have a battery draw. So that tells me I had two problems. Either the ignition tumbler housing is bad or the tumbler itself is bad. The key doesn't want to work properly. I can't pull the key out as freely as I should be able to. It catches, it kind of grinds. It feels like somebody tried picking this tumbler at one point and really failed and did a bad job and destroyed the tumbler. So I've located a tumbler online, sent it out to a place locally that will recode that tumbler for me. And then I can put the new tumbler in and retest the system to make sure it's shutting off like it should. All vehicles are supposed to go into a sleep mode. Why do I need to get this fixed? Well, guys, if I'm going to pump a bunch of money into this car and rebuild the motor, rebuild the transmission, build the drivetrain to handle 1,000 horsepower, I don't want a battery draw issue. So I needed to figure this out. It was one of the last hangups for me actually wanting to build this car. If I couldn't figure it out, I wasn't going to build it. So good news is we've located or narrowed down a battery draw issue. We need to go through the final steps to eliminate that battery draw before we invest big money into this car. This car does have a dyno day setup. It may not make it to dyno day because we might still be fighting the battery draw issue. If we can make it, we are going to pull the numbers and download the information on the current computer system. This will give us a blueprint of where we're at and what we can save and what we can't. As long as we can save everything, we're going to reuse as many components that we can, but we will have to scrap some. Some of them are going to be the internals that we need to beef up in order to handle the horsepower that we're after. That being done, the last will be small cosmetics, lights, minor things like that, fixing some body issue things that are minor details. After that, the car is done and we can drive it. Moving on to Crimson Vortec. Crimson Vortec, we just got done doing a full restoration project that you guys will see videos on that. Undercoating, tune-up, timing, basic things that vehicle needed to stay on the road. There were some detailing stuff that we did. We had to clean it up, get it back into shape. I drove this vehicle for 4 years and didn't stick very much money into it at all, and it definitely needed the money stuck into it. So there'll be plenty of stuff coming up. That'll be much later in the year here when you guys start seeing those videos. We are currently working on Big Red, but Big Red is done, and Big Red has a tuning session coming up real soon that we're going to eliminate a lot of things on that vehicle that were Achilles heel things that GM put into it. We need to get rid of those things. We can't keep them in there. I'm going to be covering all of those in separate videos, guys. Don't worry, that those will be coming. That will be after Crimson Vortec content. So that might be sometime early next year, even by the time you guys get to see some of that stuff. But we have a lot coming up. There's a lot going on. I've got a lot of stuff already preset for you guys to check out. As far as other
subscribe so you see the shorts.
Yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed. Hit that like button, help our engagement so we can get out and reach more people. As we build and as we do more things, we are willing to do more content, more live shows for you guys. But we can't do that currently. We don't have the viewership in order to push that up to the next level. When we get there, we will definitely add it. It is definitely stuff we have talked about and we are looking at. Also, you can check out our merch at fourthwall.com. Make sure you guys go to Fourth Wall and put in /Bad Wrench Automotive. You guys will be able to get our merch there.
Or
Hats.
it's easier just to go on
Or
YouTube.
make sure you click the link down below of any of our videos. It is down there. Click that link. It will redirect you directly to our page. And if it has the header banner that matches this channel, that is our merch store, guys. So you will know that you are buying directly from our merch store. That being said, we also got our Amazon store set up, guys. Big news for you guys. Anything that we have shown on any of our videos, any of our channel stuff, any of our live streams, you guys can now check out at our Amazon store. You guys can get ramps to run your vehicle up on. You guys can get tools that we use. Our Block Tech scan tool is one that we use a lot here, guys. Go over there, check it out, click on any of those items over there, and we will bring you guys more stuff as we do more projects. So Amazon store is a great thing. You guys have asked for it. We are finally bringing it to you guys. Pretty sure we're almost out of time. We do have a little bit coming up with champagne bubbles. There is some maintenance items that we are going to be focusing on. Nothing too crazy, but it's just kind of basic maintenance stuff that we're going to be doing. Oil changes and brake fluid flushes, things like that. Any more questions before we go ahead and close this bad boy out?
Nope.
Okay, guys, I want to say thank you guys for all your support. It really does help us build this channel and do so much. From every video that you guys watch, every time you guys hit the like button, every time you guys are subscribed, it really does help us build for the future. Guys, really, from us to you, thank you so much. We couldn't do this without your guys' support. But guys, as I always say, this stuff is just nuts and bolts, and I'll see you on the next one.